Good day my little robins, and happy 2017, happy new year. This is my first video on this channel of 2017 and that feels really weird. It's going to take me a bit of a while to, say 2017. Oh, 2016 went so fast. This is 2017, this is a new year, this is a new me, this is a whole new channel. That's a lie. It's not going to be a whole new channel, but a whole new me. Maybe, who knows. Anyway, I'm kicking off 2017 by doing a bit of a throwback to 2016 by sharing with you guys my top films of 2016. So let's just dive right into this video, but not before you give me a cheeky little like and hit that subscribe button to support me. Let's just start this top 10 films of 2016. Coming in at number 5 might surprise a few people, and that is Suicide Squad, because I kind of had nothing but bad things to say about this film when it came out. In total, I saw the film 3 times in 2016. I didn't pay for a single one, so I don't feel bad because I didn't have to waste my own money on it. Other people wasted money. Now, the reason it made it into my top 5 is because although in my eyes it was a kind of a bad superhero film, it was too cluttered. It had a lot of characters that it was trying to focus on, which took focus away, from supporting characters who in my eyes could have been main characters. But I did like the jokey, tone. I suppose, Deadpool had been released earlier in the year, and that was a superhero film that didn't take itself seriously. So I think they redid Suicide Squad, to make it more jokey and more light-hearted, which I think would have worked if they had, less characters, buying for screen time. But the reason mainly it made it to my top 5 spot is because I am obsessed with Heathens by 21 Pilots. So Suicide Squad, you have 21 Pilots to thank for making my number 5 spot. Coming in at number 4 is a more somber film, and that is Deepwater Horizon, which was based on the true events of the Deepwater Horizon rig, which exploded in 2010. And this is a true event film, and sometimes these films can be very hard to judge, especially since it's only 6 years have passed since it happened, so the event was still fresh in people's minds. Mark Wahlberg led this cast, which this whole film from start to finish had me on the edge of my seat, despite the fact that in the run-up to the film I've seen multiple documentaries about Deepwater Horizon on the TV and on the internet, so I knew the story. I knew how it happened, the lead-up of events and what happened afterwards. But this film was kind of kind of fresh. It was a different take to some of the documentaries, which I liked. Deepwater Horizon is a truly amazing film. Yeah, which is why it made it to my number 4 spot. Coming in at number 3 is Star Trek Beyond, which is the 3rd installment in the Star Trek franchise, and hands down, before this film series came about, I was not a Star Trek fan. No, but since the film franchise came out, I've become a Star Trek fan. I've become a Trekkie. So thank you, Star Trek film franchise. Anyway, the screenplay for this was co-written by one of the actors, Simon Pegg, who is an amazing writer. In my eyes, I love all the films he's done in the past. And you got the good mixture of, sci-fi, action, drama, romance, and comedy, which is very hard, I think, to balance in a sci-fi action film. And quite frankly, Chris Pine is, still very easy on the eyes as, Captain Kirk. And his character had the right balance of drama and comedy, to lead the cast, which again, it's mainly the same cast, but they added a few more new, aliens, so they had to bring in a few more actors. Just in general, Star Trek Beyond, and especially the fact that Idris Elba was in this film, but you couldn't actually tell it was Idris Elba, which is quite funny. It sounded like him, but because of the face makeup, you couldn't tell it was him until someone had to point out to me that was Idris Elba, and I was like, hot damn, that was a great cameo, Idris. Star Trek Beyond made it to my number 3 spot. Hitting my number 2 spot is Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Hands down, nobody else could play the character of Newt other than Eddie Redmayne. Now, I'm not going to lie, he's not been one of my favourite actors in the past couple of years, but he made Newt a lovable dork, you know, with a suitcase of magical creatures who, you know, you just fell in love with. Eddie Redmayne, you redeemed yourself in my eyes, and J.K. Rowling has done it again. She has crafted, you know, the Wizarding World so well, you know, that you feel yourself getting immersed again, you know, in the characters, you know, the fact that it's set in New York and not at Hogwarts, you know, it opened a whole new world of witches and wizards. And damn, J.K. Rowling, you had me hooked on Harry Potter. You have now got me even more hooked on Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, and I cannot wait for, you know, future films to come out and so we can, you know, follow Newt some more. I think I found my new obsession, guys, which is why Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them hit my number 2 spot. And rounding off my top 5 at number 1 should come as no surprise, and that is fricking Deadpool. Ryan Reynolds is God. He is Deadpool through and through. No one else could have played, you know, the brash, rude and offensive superhero like he could. Oh, I love Deadpool purely because it is an R-rated superhero film which didn't mind taking the piss out of itself. It did not take itself seriously. There were so many jokes that were, you know, both funny and a bit offensive that had people thinking, did you go a bit too far? No, hell no. Deadpool, amazing. One of the best superhero films, I think, in a very long time, which is why it made it to my number 1 spot, and I cannot wait for the sequels. I just hope that they live up to, you know, the success and, you know, the pure entertainment value of the first one. Fingers crossed. That ends my top 5 films of 2016. In the comments below, leave your picks for your favourite films of 2016. I would love to hear them. While you're down there, don't forget to click like if you like the video and hit subscribe to support me, because I have tacos on my sleeves, which is a good enough reason to subscribe. Until next week, I am Beth. Goodbye.